like to emphasize on the fact that I'm not really a religious fanatic, but I am not a bad person. I love God. I love God so much, and in all my daily living, I try as much as possible to make sure that I do as commanded. Though sometimes you can't get it all right, but I try to be a better person. I love God, but I am not particularly that churchy girl or trying to be that perfect Christian or perfect child of God, because I understand very well that nobody can be perfect. Sometimes you can err, you can sin, and it's all right to believe that you are not perfect. So I'm not a perfect Christian. This year is making it more than 5 years since I've never been in church. Okay, I'm not doing this video um to make it look as if it's a good thing not to go to church or to discourage those that go to church. No, the essence of this video is to reach out to those of you out there who maybe due to one situation or the other you've not been punctual to church, or you've not been going to church as much as is required of you. This video is just to remind you that you are not the devil. Okay, take it easy on yourself. You are still It's still all right. It's still fine. Maybe you've not been tried because of work, because of health condition, because of, let me say, geographical challenges or location of your church or anything. And maybe you've been sucking up, you've been thinking, you've been worried, you've been blaming and going hard on yourself, thinking maybe because I've not been in church for so time, I'm not doing good. I am not that Christian that I used to be. I'm a sinner. I'm a child of the devil. God doesn't love it. No, 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 no. Okay? I don't know. I still tell people that going to church doesn't make you a Christian. In fact, going to church doesn't mean you make heaven. Going to church is just an enhancement to your religious life. Just like you go to school in order to acquire more knowledge. But that doesn't mean that if you don't go to school, you'll not be successful in life. So that is just a practical illustration. Let me say, everybody has their own story. Mine is peculiarly saddening. Let me just put it like that. Because if you don't know, I am an Assemblies of God member. I was born in Assemblies of God, and my parents they wedded in Assemblies of God. So my family church is Assemblies of God Church. If you've ever heard of that church, it's a very popular church here in Nigeria. I don't know for outside Nigeria, but here in Nigeria they have districts, they have churches across the states, in many different states here in Nigeria. So that is where I was born. And the doctrine of that church, in fact, there are so many doctrines. You don't open your ear, you don't make hair. Like this color of wig that I'm wearing, it is a taboo. You don't even get to relax your hair, like trim or perm your hair or something. And you don't then, let me say then, because now modernization is kicking in, so some doctrines are changing, adapting to the age and the time we are in. But I know then that you don't even get to rub powder. It's more like a deeper life church. You don't get to make your hair. Even if you got to make your hair, it must be your natural hair, right? So then I just came home from holiday. That was I think that was in 2020. No, it's not in 2021. It was in 2019. Yeah, just before close to the pandemic or something like that. So I came back from holiday, and I opened my ear then, because I didn't open my ear when I was with my parents, because I know that they will kick against it because my mother is a deaconess in that church and my father is an elder. So you know that they are core member and their children is expected to be a role model. So I didn't open my ear because I know it will attract a lot of controversies to me and my mother. So I opened my ear then when I was still in Port Harcourt before I came down home for holiday. That's 2019. So I and my younger sister went to church. We went to church, and I just applied. Was it lip gloss or lipstick? It was a nude lipstick. Like it wasn't that bright, and then I with my earring sparkling, and then I braided my hair. So and then you know that if you're going to church in Assemblies of God, you have to cover your ear. You don't expose your ear. So because I braided my hair and it's not that long, I would say it's just this shoulder length. I I didn't cover the ear with the hair tie. Like I kind of styled my hair tie like this. You know, because this is how we dress to church in Port Harcourt, where I was coming from. Even in Port Harcourt, sometimes we don't even cover our hair to church. So I was thinking, okay, so that means coming home, Assemblies of God will be kind of modernized. Maybe they won't be reasoning all these things. So I still covered my hair, but I didn't get to cover the ear, everything. Like, no. So people of God, guess what happened? I and my sister, we got to church, and then our pastor cited us, and he has to summon us in front of the whole congregation to scold us. He summoned us. He just stood at the altar with his mic and he called me, called my sister that we should come out. I was thinking maybe they want to call me out to, welcome me after being absent for a while. They're like, welcome home, welcome to church once again, this or that. So with joy, I stepped out with my sister, who back then was still in school in a way, so she also came down. So we both stepped out, and lo and behold, our pastor started scolding us. He started, calling us sinners. That why why should we dress like this to church? Because we left for a while, we went into the world and we got so corrupted. We are so drowned in sin and iniquity that we have to dress like this to church. Do we even know that we are deaconess daughters? Do we even know that we are supposed to be an example to other children here? That why are we like this now? That the God will be so disappointed in us, this and that, that we even went as far as piercing our ear, rubbing whatever we rubbed on our leaves, braiding this kind of hair. Like he totally condemned us, that we are nothing to write home about. He's so disappointed in us that the whole congregation should look at us and should learn from us, that that they should never be like us. They should never dress like us. They should never emulate us, and they should never associate with us. God, the embarrassment, I was in tears. My sister was in tears, and she couldn't even hold it in. She burst out in tears, crying in front of everybody. I managed to comport myself. Instead, I wasn't really in tears, but I was in anger, because I believe that if I do something wrong, as a spiritual father, you're supposed to call us by the side and, admonish us. Even if you have to condemn me, you should do that privately, because even God Himself will scold you and still bring you close with the other hand. I don't think that's condemnation in front of the whole public, the whole congregation was really necessary. My mother, sitting where she was seated at the in the congregation, she was so angry. She even wanted to cry. Like How everybody was staring at us, looking at us. Immediately I left the church, I decided that I will never step my foot in that church again. I'm not trying to say that Assemblies of God is a bad church or something. No, I'm just saying that the action done by who did it then was really, really, really traumatic. Like whenever I think of going to church, I remember that scenario and I'm kind of scared. I'm kind of no, I'm not qualified to be in church. I am not righteous enough to be in church. Like that word keep ringing in my ear anytime I'm like dressing up to go to church. You know, the devil always uses an opportunity to bring you down, right? So a voice in me will be telling me, where are you going? You're going to church. Look at how you are dressed. Eh? Do you want what happened before to happen again? Girl, sit down. You're not even good enough to go to church again. Like that thing really, really broke me down for a very long time. My sister also made up her mind that she's not going to go to church again. Like anybody from that church that sees us will just walk past us. They will not even greet us. Even when I try to greet and associate with people from the church, they kind of treated us like an outcast. And this treatment also extended to my mother, who is a deaconess. Like everybody was kind of, no, your children are bad. They are so bad. They are nothing to write them about. Like, why will you give birth to the children like this? The treatment they gave my mother was really, 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 how do I put it? It was bad. Even when she would go out, go to fellow women's meeting, the treatment was different. Like they kind of treat her like she's not good enough to be with them because of what her children did. Okay, so I stopped going to the church, and till now I've never stepped my foot in that church again. Even when my mom will be like, forget it, it's all in the past, you can just overlook it. I'm like, no. Because after that happened, this same spiritual father, whenever he sees me, he will not respond to my greeting. Sometimes when I will be like, let me forget what happened and move on, like that phase, that event keep occurring in my head. It just look as if they are replaying it every now and then. Okay, so that is by the way. Now I moved out from there and I came down here, and I feel like, okay, since it's all in the past, maybe I can get a good church where I'll be worshiping now and I'll be a full member. But then work kicked in. Sometimes I'm even working on Sundays. And sometimes when I'm not working on Sunday, before I'll finish in the office and come down home to prepare for church, is late. Like when I mean super, super late, that I can't even make it. And the year goes very, very fast. From a year, it came to 2 years, 3 years, and when I sat down to think about it, it's 5 whole years. 5 whole years. Recently I was kind of thinking, goodness, what are you even doing? Like, how can you be absent from church for this long? Do you think you're doing the right thing? I was really hard on myself these few weeks. I was like, it's nothing to write home about. It's not good. It's not good. But then another voice in me said, is it your fault? Do you have any choice? Does that make you a sinner? Does that make you a bad person? Does that mean you not go to heaven? Does that mean God hates you? Another voice said, if God hates me because I've not been in church for long, then why do he keep answering all my prayers? Why do he keep coming true? Like every time I call upon him, he still come true. Another voice said, so you mean you will remain in sin that iniquity, you will remain in sin that grace might abound? Like the thoughts keep coming. Then I now sat down to picture everything that happened since 2019 till now. And I came to the conclusion that I'm not a bad person. It's not my fault. And it's not like I left forever. No. If I get the slightest chance and opportunity, you see me dancing and jumping up in church because I've longed for it for so long. I've longed to sit under a renowned and a spiritual man of God to listen to the word of God. But here in my house, I read my Bible, I pray, I try all my best to make sure that I live up to God's standard, up to what He expects me to do what He wants, and avoid those that He doesn't like. I try to make do with the fact that I've been absent for church for a long time. And I think God really understands because how do I put it? It's not intentional. From everything that has happened since then till now, is not intentional. Sometimes I even join some church service online, so it's not intentional. And then my message goes out to all of you that might have found yourself in my shoe, maybe due to one problem or the other, health problem, because I have someone who has been bedridden for months and have not been able to go to church. I also have someone who just moved into a different location where churches are really scarce and she has not been able to go to church. I have another person who maybe because of this same work issue have not been to church and they are kind of sucking up thinking maybe they are the worst people on earth because for some reason they've not been to church. So that is the essence of making this video today, to tell you that no, it is not your fault. You are not the devil. You are not the bad person. Yes, you are not right. Yes, you are not right, but it's not your fault. Okay? Because God knows that if there is any opportunity you have, you will be in church. So we can do better. You can still be good. You can still try your best to be Christ-like, even if you are not an ardent church goer. You can still do the right thing, okay? And you can still study at home and pass the exam. I believe that. I believe that. So God will surely help us because this heavenly race really is beyond going to church. Let me just be honest with you. This going to heaven and doing the will of God is beyond going to church. But then we can still do the right thing by going to church. But if maybe you find yourself in my shoe, just don't go hard on yourself. I know it's not easy, but please don't go hard on yourself. Wherever you are in your house, you can still do the right thing. The church is in you, the church is in your heart. Your heart is the temple of God. Okay, so you can keep it pure. You can do the right thing in your heart, and whatever you do, you can still be a Christian, even if you don't go to church every Sunday. So I wish us all the best and God's mercy, God's grace, and God's protection always.